You're not going to have it where you're meant to be in court at 9, so you arrive at 8:30, and your case is only heard at 2
12.
or 3 or
Yeah.
whatever in the afternoon. So you've wasted an entire day. With mediation, you've got a time, you arrive at the time, you both sit down. It's a lot faster, more efficient. And so that is the preferred route. You've got much less in legal fees. Your time isn't wasted, and you can often then meet a resolve or find out there is no grounds of meeting, and so you can then pursue legal equity.
What is quite important, though, is in mediation, if you come to a settlement, it's quite important to request that become an order of court, which is very quick, so that you've got something to hold on to, rather than
some stick of some sort.
Yeah.
Yes.
So always request that it becomes an order of court.
And within body corporates and things like that,
then we've got CSOs.
Then we've got CSOs.
And you know, the marvelous thing about CSOs, which is the Community Schemes Ombud facility, the marvelous thing about that is that you pay R100 if you've got a case, and they pick up your case for you if you're a sectional title owner or you have to have paid your CSOS levies, of course.
So who can approach them? Sectional title
owners, body corporates can approach them as well. And that costs R100. Unfortunately, I've never had a case with CSOS, fortunately, because I believe they're taking quite a long time. And sometimes the decisions are not perhaps as professional as they should be. But it's a facility that can be used, and I think it's very important and useful.
But does it have the power of a court?
Exactly the same power.
Okay.
Exactly the same power.
Okay.
And they can enforce it. Yeah.
And in terms of when you said a body corporate can approach them as well, so does this mean if an owner is misbehaving, breaking the rules of the estate, can the body corporate approach against that owner, even though that owner is also paying the R100?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what kind of cases would one approach them for?
Okay, if somebody's perhaps taken over some land that belongs to the body corporate itself rather than being private land. So, you know, I just saw a recent case where somebody had chosen to just extend their portion, and they'd extended it with fabric fencing, which looked rather odd, and they refused to move it. So in that case, a body corporate could go to CSOS, or a neighbour could go to CSOS. Anybody who's offended by what is done could go to CSOS.
The case that I came across is one of the people preferred to park his car in a parking bay instead of the correct place, and refused to adhere. So if your body corporate rules don't have any kind of teeth to them, then you'd have to approach CSOS to actually come to some kind of a resolve on it.
And that's so important with body corporates, to make sure their rules are appropriate and are up to date. I'm a trustee on an old block, and we looked at our rules, and our rules were delightful. The language was delightful, but completely inappropriate, and completely not part of the Sectional Title Management Act and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. So we're in the process of changing that, and it's quite a big job. But you know, body corporates have to keep up to date, and they have to keep up to date with the legislation as well, because there's certain prescribed conditions that apply.
I didn't actually know there was a Sectional Title Act, because I often come across these body corporate rules when we are called in to defend disturbance of the peace, or a rowdy, or a problematic incident in an area. And often they've got fines and things like that get imposed to keep people in order and keep them straight. I didn't realize there was an act actually for that.
Yes,
okay.
And prescribed rules.
Okay.
So yeah, you know, you have to keep up to date with that if you're a trustee, or even if you're an owner. I advise all owners, when they're buying into a sectional scheme, read the rules, just so that you know what the rules are, because so few owners tend to do that and then get surprised.
But that's actually a very interesting question I wanted to ask is, obviously owners buying a sectional scheme, let's say they've read the rules, and rules don't necessarily have everything that is actually enforced. So my first question was going to be who initiates changes, or like you said, keep up to date. Who is responsible? Is it the managing agent who is appointed? Can it be initiated from owners who say, okay, we feel the rules are not sufficient or whatever? And then how can rules be changed later on? Yeah.
Okay. Now, sectional title is such an interesting body because everybody who owns in that complex is a member of that body corporate. Yeah. They just choose trustees to do the daily work, and then the managing agent will probably do the overseeing and day-to-day work, and often the guidance of trustees. But as an owner, you are able to request changes. You're able to speak to your trustees and say, I think we need to change our rules to include this. And the trustees should be doing that. They should be updating the rules. It's a mission. You've got to submit them to your change of rules to CSOs. But if there are rules which fall into the Sectional Title Act or part of the management prescription rules, CSOs are fine. They'll just sign it off, and then those become your rules. Obviously, what you want to do is you want to perhaps have a meeting with all the owners and find out if there are any other rules that the owners feel that they should be putting in, or put rules towards those owners and say, does everybody agree to this? Because you need to have, it depends on the rules that you've put in your body corporate, but generally 33% of the owners have to agree.
How do you find out?
It's 33 or 50. It depends what your rules are as well.
How do you find out if your complex is registered with CSOs? Because obviously CSOs is something that you want to be a part of because it's got a bit of teeth.
The law says they all have to be registered with CSOs. So even if you're like
the moment you're a sectional title,
you have to be registered. It's the law. It's the law. And what's quite interesting, and that's fine with sectional title schemes because that's traditionally what we're used to. But in areas like in Kailami area where people have a hectare, and there was an anomaly which was approved by the deeds office as well as approved by council irregularly in agricultural land, which they've stopped now because it's not legal. But there are sectional title schemes where it's only 2 owners.
Yes.
And they by law have to be registered with CSOs. And many of them aren't, because many of them don't even have their rules. They don't have meetings because it's 2 people.